So, I mean, there are very many different types of fighters out there. I mean, we kind of learned that in the different types of styles that people fight in. Like, if you were to get into a fight, what's your style?
Ooh, are we rolling for it?
Okay, let's do it. I got a natural 20.
I got a natural 1.
I got a 10 right in the middle.
We are like perfectly split. What are the odds of that?
If I were to get in a fight, what kind of style would I have?
And it doesn't have to be a listed style. It could be like your own style.
I would definitely be a grappler. I mostly because I am well aware of the fact that I'm not the quickest human being. So if I can limit your movement, I stand a chance.
You also have meat hooks for hands.
Okay. This is not I have finishing carpenter hands, which means my grip is ridiculous, and it just has been that way for years since I was doing carpentry. I rock those like
the
carnival squeeze games. Yeah, I rock the hell out of those. So if I can get my hands on you, you're done.
You also play bass.
I also play bass, so I have dexterous fingers as well.
Yes.
Megan, you're next.
Yay! I'm a defensive fighter. I don't like fighting.
Yep.
Well, you're like the only person in this podcast who legit has martial arts.
Yeah, I'm actually trained to fight.
Extensive martial arts experience.
It's definitely not me.
Yeah, I don't like to fight.
I have a little bit when I was like 13, so it does not count now.
I legitimately have not taken a single class ever aside from gym class. I think we had one mandatory wrestling class, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. But I learned it for so that I know how, not so that I would have to use it. In fact, we have sparring classes like once every couple of months where we do actually have to hit each other, and I hate those classes because I just spend them like in a defensive like stance.
Are you still doing it?
With COVID and everything, it's very different. So the dojo is still open, but you basically stand in your cubicle and you don't move from your cubicle, and it's just we don't fight each other anymore. There's no partner stuff. You just punch the air.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
My fighting style would be dirty, and it would be hit and run. I do not want to be in a fight. I don't even like verbal fights.
So like, in my mind, though, I just imagined you running away. But would you actually hit and then run?
If I felt like I was at danger, there would probably be a kick in the nuts, and I would be on my way out the door, and I wouldn't even feel bad about it.
Yeah, you were just trying to make enough space and time for you to get out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would you trip the person beside you?
No.
Okay.
No. I have enough honor to not put someone else in harm's way. I would put myself in harm's way first, but I would do whatever I could to get
Where I 100% believe that, I think it depends on who's standing next to you.
Well, yeah.
Because it's the same thing for me. If I'm running away from a bear next to Terry, fucker's going down. Like, I don't care.
Okay, if you can catch Terry. No offense.
Yeah, let's be honest.
I'll just throw a mirror on the ground or something and I'll distract him long enough.
Oh, that's true.
Shiny.
It's a Mimic, the Roundtable Dungeons & Dragons discussion podcast, where you never know what you're going to get.
Welcome to another episode in our conversation about role-playing fighters in D&D 5th edition. I'm Megan, and with me this week are Dan and not Terry, or Adam. It's Brad.
Woo,
And this episode is called Fighters, Hitting on Everyone. I feel like with a title like that, it should have been Terry.
It really, yeah.
Well, peek behind the curtain, it was.
It was, yeah. We had to, because of COVID reasons, we had to kind of juggle the schedule around. But, I mean, I'm excited. Our first Fighters episode is a interesting episode.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It is widely regarded as the one that goes off the rails the hardest and the fastest.
It was only over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And only 20 minutes of it was actually about fighters.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to readdressing.
Let's redeem fighters.
Redeem fighters, right? Like and there's some really interesting things to say about them, and I'm glad we actually get an opportunity to do that.
Well, there's some interesting things to go over today. So to give you guys a kind of a snapshot, we are going to be diving deep into the Xanathar's additions to the fighting family. So we're going to start off with a couple of things and interesting stuff that you guys can add to the role-playing of your character, and then go right into talking about the new archetypes that have been added into this. So the first and foremost thing about fighters, of course, is the heraldic sign.
Ooh.
So
Heraldric?
Heraldric?
I think it's well, it's a herald.
Heraldic?
Heraldic?
Rick, there's an R, guys. There is an R.
That's what I said.
No,
Heraldic.
there's not.
No R.
There is
not.
It's heraldic.
It's heraldic. So
heraldic. It's actually heraldic is how I would pronounce
Riviera?
it. Yes.
Okay.
Heraldic.
How
did I say it originally?
Heraldric. Because you did pronounce the
R. So your family crest.
Yes, your family crest. But the whole concept, of course, behind fighters is that they're fighting for a cause.
Yeah.
Whether it is their family, whether it is their battle mastery, whether it is their kingdom, whether it is their cavalry, whatever have it be, right? Mm-hmm. They're fighting for a purpose and for a reason. So the heraldic sign or family crest, of course, is Dix of Herald. Can we just call it that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Is just supposed to be a symbol to kind of represent what they're fighting for. So, of course, in Xanathar, it does give you a quick D6 table of rolling that you can just do a quick build to kind of flesh out that character. Was there any in here that stood out to you guys that were written?
Honestly, I really like the idea of the cross greatsword in front of the castle gate. That's
how classic.
It's just a classic one.
It speaks to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I am building my next character that I actually get a chance to play is straight up a knight. So, like the idea of that honor for your keep, for your castle, and that defense, but also a greatsword. So there's that offensive push to it as well. Like I just really liked that one.
Yeah, I was a fan of that one as well. Yeah. It's just there's something iconic about that just screams fighter. It wouldn't be anything else, right?
I like it. I like the 3 drops of blood beneath the horizontal sword, but that's just me. I like death and dying.
Yeah.
So anything.
Well, that crest is definitely of a family who has maybe not seen some shit, but has committed some shit.
Yeah, because the whole concept behind it, of course, that's written in the book, is that it symbolizes 3 foes you have sworn to kill.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's, like Arya's list of people to kill, but it's just on your fucking crest.
Yeah.
It's just on your shield, right?
Yeah.
And like you just have names like this is for Jim, this is for Joe, and that's for Bill. Fucking Bill.
He knows what he did.
He knows what he did.
Now
Fuck you,
just
Bill.
want a crest with a list of names on it.
Yeah. It just gets longer and longer and longer as the campaign goes.
Yeah.
I've always loved phoenixes, so the phoenix crest was also stood out to me. Especially the thought of like rising from the ashes. If a family is being, or your order is being reforged, right? You've faced, especially at the start of a D&D campaign, to think that you come from an order or family that was decimated and you're looking for revenge and to build your way up and to restore your great name.
Yeah.
That was a really cool symbol for me. I really like that one.
Yeah, I love how you guys are going for like the heroic style, but all I really want to do is like draw a really shitty tattoo. And like, because there's the one here that's like literally a skull with a dagger.
I was gonna say that's the next one.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. I was like, that would just be someone's really shitty tattoo that they just decided, I really fucking love this tattoo, guys. I would like to put it.
And it was done in somebody's basement by just somebody with
stick and poke.
I legit know more than one person who has a tattoo of a skull with a dagger through it, and the snake. Like that like
through the eyeball and everything.
That's an iconic. I think it's American style tattoo, right? It's an iconic. I want to get one, to be completely honest.
To be completely like fair here, I do have an anchor tattoo, which with a ribbon around it.
Ooh.
So I mean, like, I can't really make fun of those who have traditional style tattoos.
Is it on your forearm?
It's on my ankle.
Okay. Wow, because like. Forearm, you're Popeye. Ankle, you're a basic bitch. So how's that pumpkin spice latte treating you?
I had one today. I'm not going to lie. It was delicious, and I was thinking of Adam the whole time I drank it.
Oh, man.
I try not to think of Adam when I consume things.
I mean, it's not the first thing that comes to mind for me either. I mean.
As I'll probably go over a little bit later in the episode, I 100% love the ideas of heraldry and having that. Like, Bannerman, with the knight background, you get retainers. Mm-hmm. So having one of those guys just like carrying around a big ass flag with your heraldry on it as you ride into battle fits for me. Like you could really embrace this idea of being a knight. So I went into a deep dive, and I want to go over some things. If you want to create your own heraldry, there are several things to know.
You go to website createyourownheraldry.com.
Actually, I went to
Ancestry.ca.
English-heraldry.com. heritage.org.uk.
Okay, got you.
Oh boy.
Like, I went to the source. I went to England for this one.
Did you do a 10 question quiz?
No, it
Which Disney princess are you, Dan?
Sorry.
I am 100% Merida. I've done the test several times. Anyway, but use bright colors. Remember that your backgrounds don't necessarily have to be fair. If you have a proper, which is to say a more natural animal and its natural colors, understand why you would have them. A lot of them have a special meaning, including the things like a fess, a pale, a bend, a chevron, a cross, a saltire, a chief, a border, or a pile. These are other designs to throw on that when you mix these with different colors have different meanings for your house. These are often called ordinaries is what they're put on to them. And then as you go down, you also have things which are heraldry charges, which are things like the blood drops we saw. Those would be charges. Those are things that usually if your family owns a lot of corn, you would have corn charges on your in your heraldry. Or if your family comes from a land of evergreen forests, you would have 3 evergreen trees on your heraldry. Stuff like that comes through. Stars, rings, the fleur-de-lis is...
Are the rings Sonic the Hedgehog's family?
Most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, especially on a pale blue background. Yeah.
Excellent, yeah.
And you drop them when you get stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not actually attached.
No, they're not.
Sorry.
But finally, the big thing, like when you put an animal on, each one has different meanings. But for some examples, lions are bravery, dogs are faithfulness and reliability, hares are for speed, badgers or wolverines are for endurance or holding on, stags are for wisdom and long life. These things...
Now I want a honey badger on my
right?
heraldry.
It makes sense.
You don't give a
I
fuck?
just don't.
Let's be completely honest. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons. This is a fantasy game, so you should have more than just stags. Have an owlbear. Have heraldry with a beholder on it. And what the fuck's that about?
Could you imagine? Actually, that would be really dope.
Right?
And it would be like every eyeball was different or something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking mind flare.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Some sort of illithid.
just a big Cthulhu skull on. Yeah, I'm down. So like,
so now we're creating a cult, I think, more than a family symbol.
Go off the deep end with this, please do. This is another opportunity for you guys to like create a heraldry and go to the Reddit or go to the Instagram page or whatnot and come back to us and ask us, come back to us and tell us what you've created. I want to hear about these cool heraldries and what they mean for your character.
Yeah. Or even in real life. Like if someone has an attachment to their personal actual like heraldry, I love that kind of shit because my family has no idea where the fuck our crests or where anything. Like we just don't have the access to that.
There's one attached to my family name, but I wouldn't like my family's never claimed it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I love that kind of shit. So agreed. Yeah. Post it, share it, love it. Does anybody else have any other thoughts or feelings on... I feel like you did a lot of research on that. I love it.
Okay. Full disclaimer. I am a massive fantasy nerd, yes, but I am also a massive medieval era nerd.
Like history buff.
My mom is an anthropologist.
Yeah.
So I have always grown up being huge into history and that kind of stuff. So D&D gives me an avenue to really nerd out about certain things like that. Like if... You want me to watch a movie that you're producing? If you put Arthur or any of the Knights of the Round in it, have anything about the Lady of the Lake mythology or whatnot, I'm in. I don't care if it's a shitty-ass movie. I will watch that thing multiple times and enjoy every minute of it.
Oh, so you also have seen Bly Manor.
Bly Manor and Cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's going right over my head.
It's okay.
They're both actually pretty good. But
recommend,
yeah.
Okay.
I had only seen Jurassic Park like 2 weeks ago, so movies aren't really the thing to recommend to me.
Gosh, you're worse than Terry just now.
Hold up. Like,
Terry's pretty bad.
Terry's pretty bad. Terry goes, "What is this Star War?" And I get upset at him.
And how many were there?
Yes.
Die in a fire.
Yeah.
3 is the answer.
But can we all agree that Adam's heraldry is a pumpkin spice latte?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's several pumpkins. Yeah.
With a Starbucks symbol right on the center.
Yeah. Mermaid. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Terry's would be a mirror, just like in the center.
Oh, it's just a polished chrome.
Yeah.
Like
so you can just hold it up, look at it. Yeah. Absolutely. What about Dave?
Just a
Dave's
shotgun.
yeah. Dave's would be like a crossbow over a field of dead animals.
And it would be all camo.
Yeah,
the
pattern
definitely
would be
camo.
camo.
You would never actually see it. If you saw his heraldry, you fucked up.
It's too late. It's too late for you.
Tell me, Gertie, how does that go?
Don't even get me started. Oh dear. All right, well, let's move into instructors. So, I mean, this is kind of self-explanatory as to what it is. So, some fighters tend to technically be, like, they could be self-taught, but at the end of the day, of course, their skills have to be passed down or learned or, like, just absorbed in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's through traditional means, non-traditional means, whether it was forced upon them, not forced upon them, you know, like I love those kinds of story tropes where like they became a fighter because it was what they had to do, not because it's what they wanted to do, like that kind of stuff. So again, within Xanathars, they do have a small D6 table, which kind of gives you a little bit of a breakdown on a couple of options that you can just choose if you're not someone that can kind of reach into your creative mind. And I think they covered a lot of the basics in here. So like you have your common ones, like of course you're a gladiator, you were part of the military, or you were City Watch, Tribal Warrior, Street Fight.
Street Fighter.
Thank you. And of course, like your Weapon Master, right? So did any of these stick out to you guys? Or do you guys lean towards one of these more than the other?
I have a problem.
What's your problem?
Is it the same as my problem? Because I have a problem as well.
What is your problem, Brett?
My problem is the
No,
fact...
not that problem. The actual applies to this.
Oh, this.
Yeah, we don't need to know
don't
what.
have all
We have
that.
that ointment on the table.
All right. I thought this was a therapy session. My apologies. No, my
Tell
issue...
me about your father.
Oh.
No.
Left when I was... Left to get smokes,
We
never
are
came back.
derailing this fast, and we're not doing this justice the way we wanted to. Okay?
All right, no.
Okay.
My issue...
What is it about fighter episodes?
My issue is that first level characters have far too much background as a champion in the military, as a gladiator pit fighter that's won many victories and won their freedom. If you've killed that many people and you're level 1, and then you suddenly get killed by a goblin that hits you with a crossbow.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. It bothers me.
Yeah, my big problem with this as well is kind of aligned. These are just backgrounds.
Yeah.
They're mechanical backgrounds in the game. If you go gladiator as this for your instructor, like you roll the dice, you get the one for gladiator, and then you don't choose the gladiator background, something is wrong. There's a disconnect.
Well, it's the same thing with the military one. If you don't take
you don't take veteran as a level 1 fighter. Like, come on, bud.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, this is all just character building, right? There's no mechanical attachment to the heraldry or the instructor or what we're going to get into next, right?
Well, I mean...
this is just to help you give some flavor, especially for somebody who's not made a character before or is new to a fighter and just doesn't really have a fully fleshed out. This helps you kind of...
It gives you a jumping
push you in the direction.
The thing to note here is that these are... The difference from a background that these have is these are the backgrounds of your instructor.
Yes.
Not necessarily of you. So if you are trained by a gladiator, but you are yourself part of the City Watch, that's how this works.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But the influence of your instructor on you should have an influence in where you apply your lessons, where you apply your learning.
Yeah,
skills,
of course.
right?
So as you're starting to level and grow your character, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we already discussed Arya, but that's a good example, right? One of them in here is Weapon Master, right? She started as a level 1 fighter, I would say, and she took lessons.
She's a rogue.
She is, but I think with the Weapon Master here, I think she starts at the level fighter.
But at the same time, like, it also depicts the style, too, I find. Which we'll get into a little bit later. But
absolutely.
I feel like the Master is what does that for you. So, for another pop cultural reference, Miyagi versus Cobra Kai, right? Like, two completely different fighting styles. And two very different masters, right?
Yeah, one is willing to break the rules to win.
And the other wax on and wax off.
No, and
I dance to win. Okay. It's dance style. Thank you.
And the other one lost the fight because stupid Daniel kicked the dude in the head, and that's not a rule. He should have been disqualified. Like, how is this a discussion?
But that's
fine. Watch the Karate Kid. Daniel's son is a cheater. He needs to get off the friggin' thing. Blonde dude won. So
also, just weird, like, little tip, like, not tip, but like cute little backstory. Miyagi was actually technically based off of the masters of the current style that I'm training in.
Oh, really?
So if you watch Cobra Kai and they show the pictures of the masters in the background, those are the pictures that are in my dojo.
That's wild.
Well, you're in like karate, right? Like
Yeah,
that is,
yeah.
But is it Shotokan? Like
A
what kind?
karate.
Mabukan, okay.
Yeah, so it's
I did like when I was 13, I mentioned it earlier. I did Shotokan karate and I did a little bit of Aikido.
yeah.
Mostly because
This is why you're a grappler.
yes, right. So yeah. Anyways, I'm not
But
gonna
yeah,
get into it.
but I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to get to is that the instructors that they put here aren't necessarily instructors. They're the backgrounds of which your instructor comes from.
Correct.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, so yes, it says gladiator, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a part of like the gladiator regime. It's just that the person who taught you happens to be. If
Yeah,
that
they
makes
won
more
their
sense.
way through
Yeah, so it's not like you
champion
yourself
gladiator.
are like top dog of the military. Your master was.
Yes.
You're learning from that person.
I would love to see this put into effect with your rogues, with your monks,
Yes,
with
monks,
your
absolutely.
clerics.
Yeah.
Like, how badass is the story of the life cleric that, learned his skills and was kind of shepherded by a former pirate,
Huh.
right? Who saw the error of his ways, redeemed his life, and now is made his entire mission to better the lives of those around him, and that's why he's a life cleric, but he still has that rough edge of, I don't know, a former pirate.
Still knows how to fight dirty.
Still knows how to fight dirty.
Knows
if he
little
really needs
tricks.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
And
Like,
also has to fight to probably change his name, too.
Yeah,
So if you were
right?
training under that person, and you tell other people, yeah, I'm training under pirate fucking Noah, I don't know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't think you tell anybody at that point.
Well, this is another one of these little flavor charts that they give you in Xanathars that could be applied to other classes very, very well.
Very easily,
Yeah.
too.
So it look at this for other things as well. And as a DM, I would encourage my players to give backgrounds to important NPCs that they create when they are creating their backstories so that I can mess with those too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it's really cool to have somebody who's training you. But does that become midweek content? How do you balance that with
Oh, yeah.
many players around the table, right?
Yeah, or you just make that agreement that at nighttime when you rest, you spend 2 hours training,
Sure.
right? Because I did that when I played in L5R, which was very, very samurai based.
That's
Legends
of the Five Rings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I had a character that was born a magic user, but didn't want to be. She wanted to be a fighter, so she found a master within the group. And then every evening, they trained on a different weapon, and throughout the campaign, she eventually got levels in other areas.
cool.
That's a cool way
So,
to do that.
and again, it was always done off screen, midweek content,
Yeah,
if you want
of course.
to. But otherwise, it was just known that in the evening times you did, and you would
That's what
roll
you
whether
do.
you were successful or not, and then went from there.
And also, if you are DMing a group of people and you want to have a very character-driven campaign, basing little 5-session, 4-session arcs
Mhm.
where one of your players is kind of the bigger protagonist, and everybody else is supporting them in whatever their goal is,
Yeah.
works. And this is a good time to pull it.
Adam's not here, so I'm just going to say Critical Role. I'm going to say the words. They do a fantastic job of that, where they take arcs and they focus on a character over that arc, so everybody gets their chance to kind of shine. And it doesn't mean that everybody else is pushed to the background, but this arc is kind of focusing on the backstory of somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
And so if you want a good example, it's a good place to go, but
Yeah.
That's true.
not that we need to give them a shout out.
Be nice if they gave us a shout.
Right.
Weirdly enough, my
Sponsor us.
was up on the TV screen the other day, and then my partner was like, "Who the fuck is Critical Role?" Why are we together?
I'm what?
Yeah. So we're very opposite in the sense where I play a lot of D&D. He plays that. So.
My wife does the who the fuck is Critical Role anyways? Because I just go off and rant and rave about them. So
It's just people.
Yeah.
People. All right, speaking of just people, let's talk about signature styles. So, of course, if you are a fighter, you don't necessarily always have to be run into the battlefield full tilts,
But you can.
You can but I think what we talked about before is the master definitely kind of depicts the style that you have. I'm thinking
Absolutely.
in my head I automatically go to drunken master,
yeah,
Mhm.
that just for a specific style, right? So of course, obviously in Xanathars it also gives you the D6 table, which is very easy to roll from if you were just wanting to jump off or it's your first character build. It's fun to roll to see what you end up getting, because I can't imagine having like the drunken master and then getting like cunning.
I was gonna say, can you imagine? I can't see myself rolling on this table. I can see myself looking at these tables for
Getting
inspiration,
ideas.
but not actually rolling on them.
I don't know. I've rolled characters before, like just straight from the book from beginning to end.
For a one shot, that's all right. But
They're fucking hilarious though.
After the class section in Xanathar's,
yeah,
there is a "This is your life" section.
yeah, there is.
Which is a randomly generated character backstory.
Yeah.
Done that.
If I ever have any problems with a player creating a backstory, I guide them towards that.
Sure.
And be like, trust the process, write down all the little findings, and then legitimize it so all of those are included in. And you can have some messed up backstories that are super interesting and intriguing. They did a really good job of that chart. It's one of my favorite things.
I do enjoy that chart, and I've used it before, but I can't imagine. I just want to put too much of my own stamp on things. And I totally take that, but I at least use it if I'm kind of stuck somewhere. I'll use it to guide, and then I'll find one or two pieces there and use that.
It's true. But with like when we're getting down to like choosing a style for your fighter, I do feel that it is very important and a very good piece to add to your character because it will depict why you go into battle, how you go into battle, and how you present yourself in battle.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I don't think this is something that's thought of enough. Why are you fighting? And who are you fighting? What is the purpose behind it?
I think we see role-playing and combat as two different parts of the game, and they shouldn't be.
People usually shut off their charisma brain and turn on their fighty brain when they go into battle, and I think it's important to really dig deep into it a little bit more.
Fighters are the one class that is the most at danger, maybe monks, of having the bland descriptions. I just hit him with my sword.
I hit him, yeah.
Right? No, man. You have a style to you. You have some feel to you. Tell me how you swing your sword. Tell me, describe the brutal bladed dance that you are engaged in. Figure it out, because you can have so much more feeling and characterization to your combat as a fighter, and people, like you were saying, just don't do it. I like some of these options. One of them, like energetic, you sing and laugh during combat as your spirit soars. You're happiest when you have a foe in front of you and a weapon in hand.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just a fighter walking up in full plate mail, laughing at a dude. Yes, I'm on board. I'm 100% on board. Brutal. Your attacks rain down like hammer blows. Meant to splinter bone and send blood flying.
I was looking at that, and that's a barbarian look, but you absolutely can build a fighter around that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's very true.
So, and I honestly don't think that your fighter has to choose one and stick with the one for the entire campaign.
No.
Your character will grow and evolve, so will your
Maybe
style.
you go into combat, starting as just this brutal fighting style, right? You're just wailing, and as you go, you start to develop more of a skill set. And eventually you could go into an elegant fighting style, right?
Yep.
You could evolve over time, especially depending on who your trainer is, like we discussed earlier.
Yeah, I think, and especially if you're thinking, elegant style, again, you'll think Arya Stark, who basically dances to fight, doesn't perspire, uses as little bit of energy as possible.
Yeah. When I think elegant, I think Three Musketeers, I think D'Artagnan, I think the movie The Duelists, right?
Yeah. I went
Princess Bride.
I was going to say Princess Bride with Montoya.
Inigo Montoya.
I'm not left-handed.
But I feel like that adds so much character into a battle. If you're doing stuff like that.
I actually really was looking at the sinister, right? Scowl and sneer while fighting, and enjoy mocking your foes as you defeat them.
Yeah.
You're the Brad Marchand of fighters.
Oh, don't mention that name in this place. It's your house, so I can't tell you what not to say in your own house, but no.
But how dare you?
How dare you?
But how off-putting would it be? You have a bard sitting in the corner casting vicious mockery, but your fighters over on the side doing a better job at it and beaking the hell. Apparently beaking's a Canadian thing.
Beaking, is it?
Yes.
It's not an American thing?
I said that to my wife the other day, and she's like, what is that word? So,
She
making fun of, egging on,
No, beaking. Let's not break it down. It's beaking.
Beaking. So,
Chirping, if you will.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term before.
It's because you didn't hang out with hockey players.
Yeah, it's a hockey
Is that a sport?
It's
it is the sport.
Oh, you're wearing a sports blouse today.
I am wearing a sports blouse today, yes.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Very
red.
shiny.
It's not my orange one that gets me mocked in the city, so.
We don't speak of such things.
Oh,
Go
Lord.
Oilers. Anyways.
Anyhoozle, so I think the whole long and short of it is that the Heraldic.
Heraldic.
And
Harry's dick. Yep.
Yeah.
Heraldic.
Your instructor and your signature style for your fighter. It's something really neat to dig into instead of just building your basic fighter. So.
I mean, if you're ever stuck in putting flavor on your fighter, this is the place to go. Xanathar's is full of flavor.
It is. And some of these like little intro things definitely miss the mark. None of these do.
No, these are spot on.
I do have a small problem with the instructor and how that is basically just a reiteration of a background. But
as we kind of broke down,
it is a good stepping stone to lead you into developing NPCs in your background.
Absolutely. That's it, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Rather than your own background, it's your trainer's background.
Yeah.
It's also a good piece to add for your DM so that they have a character to throw at you later in the campaign.
Yeah. Or rather to kill slowly in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Or have turn on you. That's my other favorite.
Oh, yes.
This person is important to you? Watch and sit while I slowly describe how I slit their throat.
Also, by the way, they were probably evil and you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good, fantastic.
They're actually the one who killed your parents because everyone's an orphan.
Not everyone's an orphan. Some of us have our dads and our swords. Megan?
Shut up.
Bastard swords?
All right, well, we're just going to go to a commercial for now. And then when we come back, we'll go through the subclasses that are within Xanathar.
Are you going to behave for this commercial?
Almost certainly not.
Why do I even bother with you?
Why do you bother me?
That's not what...
Hey everyone, and welcome to another stupid commercial that I don't want to fucking...
Adam!
Daniel!
Will you just... please?
Hi everyone. It's that time again where...
Thank God.
Dan, I'm trying to record a commercial here. It's that time again where we remind you that we have a mailbag episode coming up soon. So if you have any questions, comments, or random thoughts for any of the hosts, please let us know.
We actually really look forward to the mailbag episodes because it lets us talk directly with you guys, the listeners.
NPCs.
Most of the questions these days are directly related to D&D, but you know we'll answer just about anything.
Want to answer why you bother me?
Stop it. You can send us direct messages through Instagram, find the post on the subreddit, or send us an email at info@insubmimic.com.
So the next time you're listening to an episode and struck with a quandary, perplexity, or bewilderment, take a few seconds and type out a quick message for any one of the hosts. We'll make sure that your question gets added to the list.
And also remember to enter our giveaways for a chance to have an entire episode dedicated directly to you. It's these interactions that bring the most joy to our lives.
That and beer. What?
You know what? We really should just get together to answer some questions one day and get drunk.
Remember the time I showed up drunk for that one episode?
Oh my god, I edited so much out of that one.
This advertisement has been brought to you by cirrhosis and idiocy.
Please drink responsibly.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad, Dan.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we'll just get right into it. How about we roll and see who wants to go first?
Yeah.
All right.
Do it. I got a 9.
Got a 6.
17.
Guys,
I get to go
last.
first.
All right, B-Money, what you got?
All right. I am bringing you today one of my favorite... I've never really desired to play a fighter, but even before doing this, the one fighter I've always wanted to build is the Cavalier.
Oh, okay.
Go on.
I've got
Convince
opinions,
me.
but of course
I'm
I
sure
do.
you do. You always do. So we're going to do a bit of a dive here into the Cavalier. Cavalier is basically your expert at mounted combat. It's what they sell in. Their whole rules are based around it. They are designed specifically to have a mount, to charge into battle. And they're also probably the tankiest subclass, I would say, based on the rule set that they have. Their goal... Now, I know 5th edition's gotten rid of the role of tank, which is probably a good thing, I would argue. But they are specifically designed to get into combat, lock down the enemies around them, don't let them escape, and have them focus on you.
Yeah,
which is...
If you're playing a Cavalier and don't have the Sentinel feat, you're doing it wrong.
You know what? You honestly are doing it wrong. In fact, there's actually some crossover. We'll get to this as we go through the characteristics of the Cavalier, where there's a bit of crossover actually between the feat and the abilities they get.
Okay.
So let's just jump right into it. So starting at 3rd level, you get a bonus proficiency, which you're going to pick animal handling if you haven't already, because you're riding a mount. You need to have animal handling.
Yep.
Your other options are history, insight, performance, or persuasion.
Yeah, which fighters suffer from having a lack of skill proficiencies.
Yes.
This is helpful.
This is...
It's a good way to start.
Gain 1.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, if you don't have animal handling, you're guaranteed... If you aren't taking handling, again, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also just like how it starts it off, because usually if you build a fighter, you think that they have no social skills.
Yeah.
So I like that it starts it off with...
I
making
like
you do
persuasion or as like you're up on the horse, right? You're leading the men into battle. You're leading the armies into battle. I like that as well.
Well, Carl Urban in Lord of the Rings was fairly charismatic, and he was Rohirrim. So, I mean, it made sense that there's a certain amount of charisma there.
Yeah.
Right?
And to have that kind of skill set,
Yeah.
it lines up. I like this.
I also like that you get another language,
Yes.
and that there's no limitation to that language. But
I feel like a DM would be like, tell me why you would know that language.
Sorry.
why do you know
Now,
Primordial?
Exactly.
let me clarify here. It's either or. You get proficiency or a language. You do not get both.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
so you're going to take the proficiency because, like you said, fighters have a lack of... I mean, unless you really want that language for flavor or for some reason, I don't see why you're taking language. You're taking proficiency.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you can try and convince me otherwise, but I see no reason to do it unless you really want to for a flavor.
If you're a half elf, if you are only dipping into Cavalier, and your other class is a rogue or a
sure
bard or something,
Or if you're playing with a DM that you know relies heavily on the fact that you understand the language.
yeah.
Like, there are some campaigns
Now,
where it does not.
We're going to get into it. I only recommend dipping into Cavalier, but we'll get into that reason more. You also, starting at 3rd level, get Born in the Saddle. And basically, this gives you advantage on saving throws to avoid falling off your mount. And if you fall off your mount, which is very cool, you do not go... Basically, you have... if you don't fall more than 10 feet, you don't land prone.
You tuck and roll.
You tuck and roll, and you get up on your feet. Which, anyone else, if they're dismounted, you're landing prone automatically.
The iconic or the character art for Cavalier is a dwarf.
Yes.
I just envision like him getting knocked off it and just like thumping on the ground, just like
Just
solid,
and standing
just like
up.
okay, I'm good. Like
Yeah.
Very hardy.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
hardy. And lastly, at 3rd level, you get Unwavering Mark. This is actually the feature that I like most for
Got
Cavaliers.
to start.
Oh, I did. Sorry. Mount. That's right. Born to the Saddle. One other thing you do is rather than using half of your movement to mount, you only have to use 5 feet.
Yeah,
Which
that
is huge.
freaking massive, especially when you're a fighter.
Yeah. And if you only have 5 feet of movement, you can still hop on your horse at the end of it.
Yeah,
So, right, anybody else, if you don't have half your movement available, you can't mount. So that's a big bonus that's going to get you around the battlefield a lot quicker.
yeah.
The next ability that they get at 3rd level, and the last one, is Unwavering Mark. And this is what I would consider to be one of the key features of a Cavalier, and this is probably why you take it. So starting at 3rd level, you can manage your foes, foiling their attacks and punishing them for harming others. So this is where I'm getting this tank vibe from. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you mark the creature until the end of the turn. And basically what happens is, as long as that creature stays within 5 feet of you, it has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't targeting you. So it's effectively like a taunt, right? You're saying, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
And if they go against anybody else, you're basically intervening and saying, hey, no, your fight's with me.
I feel like a lot of fighters have an ability that makes them do that.
Yeah, but this especially is done. But then as a bonus, if it does actually decide to attack somebody, and then with disadvantage still makes the hit and does damage, you then get to make a special weapon attack against that. So you basically get an attack of opportunity that's not using up your reaction to attack. You basically, and then if you attack and hit, you deal extra damage to target equivalent to half your fighter level. So you're basically getting an empowered attack, right? So you're basically saying, come at me, bro, and if you still choose not to, and you manage to pull it off, well, guess what? You're getting it right back in your own face.
There you go.
Yeah, this is... Cavaliers in past editions have been, how do I put this nicely, donkey shit. Mostly because of how do you defeat a mounted player character?
You kill them out.
No, a cave, dude.
Well, yeah.
Go to a dungeon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this game is called Dungeons and Dragons.
So
I've had mounts in so many games. And
I have a bit of a workaround for this. We'll get to in a bit.
Yeah. But like
a dwarf on a cat, we get it.
I mean,
actually, it's halfling on a bull mastiff.
This gives you and Cavaliers of previous editions have just been I'm a mount. I'm all about my mount.
Yeah.
Everything's about my mount. I'm a mount. I'm really good with a mount.
Yeah.
Take a mount away from them, and they're like, well, now I'm just a worse fighter.
Yeah.
This really buffs you so that if your mount is out protecting the other mounts because you're the only asshole with a warhorse, then you could still do stuff in the cave.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna go through some more of the features here. None of them require the mount. Mm-hmm. They are enhanced by having a mount, right? A lot of the features that they have are enhanced by that.
Yeah, like here's your bonus, but if you're on a mount, it's a better bonus.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first 3. The next one you don't get until 7th level, so you need to do a pretty deep dive to get anything more than that. But I would argue that that's enough. The rest are kind of nice, but not must-haves. So at 7th level, you get Warding Maneuver. At this point, you can fend off strikes directed at you, your mount, or other creatures nearby. So if anybody you see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack, you roll 1d8 as a reaction and add that to their AC. So basically, any party member within 5 feet of you will get a bonus to their AC once per long rest. And it's a d8, which is kind of like basically a shield spell.
Yeah.
But if they don't have shield, it's a good way to keep some squishies alive. I like this. Again, it's not one of the ones, like I wouldn't take Cavalier for this ability.
Yeah.
Especially it's your Constitution modifier per long rest. That's okay.
I mean, that's still plenty. You're a fighter, man.
And the other thing with this one too, right? If you're using this ability, that attack has already come with disadvantage because if they're within 5 feet of you, you've probably marked them to say, hey, come at me. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really see a reason. This is fine. I don't love it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
10th level, you get Hold the Line. This one I like.
I just like its name because I want to yell it out loud.
Yeah. Oh, and you absolutely, if you don't yell it out loud every time you use this ability, you're doing it wrong. But basically, anybody who is within 5 feet of you provokes an attack of opportunity if they move. So they don't actually have to leave your threatened space. They just have to move.
This will help a lot of players from older editions feel a little bit more at home.
Yeah.
Because there's that knee-jerk reaction to want to do that attack of opportunity reaction when someone's just moving within my attack range, which was how it was in 3.5. Now, no, they could just walk around,
they can dance around you
all day long, and it's no problem. So, yeah, I like this.
Yeah, and if you manage to hit with it, you also reduce their movement speed to 0. So basically, if they're trying to flee, you can say, hold on, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're here with me. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
Yeah.
Right? I like this ability, but 10th level, I don't know that it's enough for a 10th level ability.
No, it tracks with the other ones.
Yeah.
It certainly tracks with the other ones.
Yeah, I feel like most of these ones, like, it's nothing that's going to break the game, right?
Yeah.
The whole point is to be more flavorful and really be a part of the character.
And it's flavorful for sure.
Yeah.
Same with the 15th level spell, Ferocious Charger. Now, this one's one of the interesting ones. We were talking earlier about how you don't have to be mounted for this to work. Mm-hmm. This one is right along that line.
Yep.
Whether you mount or not, if you move at least 10 feet before you attack, once you make the attack, so you move 10 feet, you make an attack. If you hit, the target that you've attacked has to make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a bull rush, right? You move 10 feet, you're going to make your attack, and you're going to knock them prone if they fail their save.
That's pretty cool, though.
I like this.
Yeah.
You don't have to be mounted, which is nice. And you can use it once per turn. There's no limit on this.
Yeah. No, we don't have enough of a charge mechanic in the game. No. There's the charger feet.
And if you are mounted, you're moving 120 feet around if you're on a warhorse.
They only move 50. So
100 feet because they get their action. And then you're going to use the bonus action dash most likely if you need to. You can use it on other things with your...
You can't bonus action dash as a fighter.
Your companion can.
Not a bonus action.
No, it's just the action.
Well, we'll get into actual mounted combat rules.
Yeah, that's
because this brings in a aspect of combat that is very unique to this. This is the same reason why Adam would hate a warlock and does hate warlocks, is because they bring in unique mechanics that are different to everything else, and that is like my big...
Yeah, mounted combat is... I mean, I've never played with it.
It's weird and it's hard to understand, so we'll be going through it in just a second. But
anyways, this ability, I mean, you've got movement. You're going to be able to use this every turn if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be, outpacing your monk, but...
No, but you're going to be outpacing anybody else on foot.
That's true.
And then lastly, at 18th level, you get Vigilant Defender. In combat, you get a special reaction that you can take once on every creature's turn except for your own. And you can use a special reaction to make an opportunity attack. And you can't use it on the same turn you use your normal reaction. So basically, you don't want to use your normal reaction. You'll just wait for other people's turns and use this. Because you can use it every turn for every other creature. It's kind of worded weird. I had to read it a few times to understand it.
So
if you use if you use your reaction to make a attack of opportunity, you can't use so I had to read it a few times. What it means is that you can't use your reaction to do an attack of opportunity and then do this as well, because it's effectively the same thing. So basically, you don't get two attacks. They had to word this because somebody would say rules as written. Okay, I'm going to use my reaction to make the attack of opportunity, and then I'm going to use Vigilant Defender.
So I still don't understand Vigilant Defender.
Okay, so starting at 18th level, you respond
Yes.
to danger with extraordinary vigilance.
Yes.
In combat, you get a special reaction that you could take once on every creature's turn,
Except
yours.
which is good. Yeah.
You can use this special reaction only to make an opportunity attack, and you can't use it on the same turn you make your normal reaction. So, what this means is, if something draws an attack of opportunity on its turn, you can use your attack of opportunity against it.
Okay.
Rather than just once per combat round.
This takes up your
reaction
no, it doesn't. It takes up your reaction
for that turn.
For
that
one second.
Yeah.
It takes up your reaction against that creature.
Correct.
So if the next creature down the line does a thing and draws an attack of opportunity, you still have this special reaction. If another creature down the line does something else that requires you to use the reaction to speak, or the other options for a reaction action, that is when you would be using your personal actual reaction. Yeah. This one is a special. In previous editions, this would have been called combat reflexes. That's what this is. Basically, you get a certain amount of bonus opportunity attacks.
It just seems very specific.
You get legendary actions. This gives you legendary actions. That's what this is.
But it's very specific to attack of opportunity. And how often does that actually happen in battle?
Now you get it if anybody moves in your space, so you get extra.
If anybody moves within your space, you get it. You've got Sentinel, so if anybody leaving your space, they're going to get it.
Yeah,
if anybody comes into your space, because you're going to go Polearm Master,
you're going to get it when you move into their space.
You're not going to go...
And then they're never going to leave your fucking space. So I just feel like it's useless.
I don't think you're taking Polearm Master in this. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're mounted, you're going to take a Lance, not a Polearm.
Lance counts as a polearm.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that in the Polearm Master. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm
like, no, you're very specifically taking Polearm Master with this guy.
I guess so. I kind of didn't touch on it earlier, but we'd mentioned when you attack somebody when you get to make that opportunity attack, if you hit them, they get reduced to 0 for their movement.
Yeah.
You also get that from Sentinel, so it's kind of a wash. I mean, if you're taking Cavalier, you're taking Sentinel.
Yeah.
I mean, that bit is kind of...
It just seems like not great for 18th level. Like, and don't get me wrong, I did say before that like all of these are not meant to be game breaking. They're not meant to be extremely amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like at 18th level, it just seems very...
It's 17th, but yeah, it's...
No, it's 18th.
It's 18, yeah.
Okay.
It just seems very... I don't like it. That's just... that's me.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fighter. It's incredibly powerful. Like, you ride your horse or your mount into the thick of battle, and you stand there.
It works great if you got
every single thing. Yeah, this is a horde killer.
If you're fighting the BB,
every single time a minion comes within range, and I mean, you would work.
You are surrounding yourself by your companions. You're making sure that there's people around you of your allies, and you're making sure you're holding the line.
It is a very specific scenario in which it would work.
I mean, yes. Yeah. This guy is also this makes him good in tunnels.
Yeah,
but because, like, to be honest, yes, it's great that you get the attack of opportunity when your other people get attack of opportunity. But how many parties have more than one fighter and barbarian that are going to be beside someone with a fucking horse? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just does not work in my brain.
Well, and that actually you're right, but I don't see that as a bad thing.
Like, this is also where
I see this guy standing in the front, and then you just have an entire party like we just had in our last campaign. We had that one person who stood in the front. you, and then the rest of us were like ranged casters.
Let's put a bonus on this. The fact that you're mounted, if somebody gets past you, boop, to the back line, you're defending that wizard who's all squishy, you're defending that.
Yeah, no,
right?
And I get that piece of it. It's just that, like, I do also remember building a character built for protecting people, and then I was never fucking around people. So I used half of my abilities because of it.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So I think like it's going to be very party specific. It's going to be very, like, to your point, you almost wouldn't want to go to the top line of this if your party didn't need it.
I would have maybe up to 7th level, and then I would probably go paladin.
Yeah.
I want to, because you're required to be within 5 feet of your allies to make a lot of this stuff work. You might as well get an aura and be right next to them anyways.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the Oath of the Crown does a lot of that defensive stuff better than Sentinel does.
True.
Not Sentinel, but then Cavalier does.
Yeah.
But I think if you combine the two, especially because as a paladin, you get find steed, find greater steed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how cool would that be combined with this feature? I think the two of those can actually be used really nicely for multiclass.
Yeah, I mean, to me, yes, it tracks, but it feels like I would rather have a Cavalier subclass for a Paladin, to be honest.
But you don't, and I think you could do something really cool with the two, right? You take, maybe 13 levels in Paladin and 7 in Fighter?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we're just going to go over what mounted combat looks like.
Yeah, let's do
really,
that.
really quick before we move on. Mounted combat is very, very weird, but basically it functions as an animal companion. So your mount rolls for initiative separately than you, but I mean, if it is your mount, it's basically going to move on your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Your mount itself has an action, just like everything else does. One requirement for your mount is it does have to be one size larger than you, so no mounting a meat like. If you are a dwarf, there's no mounting the half orc to have the half orc run you into battle, right? Like that's
Sorry, that's what I'm doing with my character.
You're doing you're a halfling and it's a minotaur.
That's true.
So there's a size difference, so it works.
All right,
you're okay.
I like the halfling on the bull mastiff.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like a riding dog would fit with this as well. Now. Typically with it, and the Cavalier does break this, if you are once during your move as a character, you can mount a creature that is within 5 feet of you or dismount. Doing so costs movement equal to half of your speed. So if you have 30 speed, it's going to take 15 feet of movement. This is not the case with a Cavalier who gets to do this in 5. Sweet. However, if you move 20 and get up to your horse and you try to mount, it does not work. You need that 15 feet. You need that half speed.
That's right.
If an effect moves your mount against its will while you're on it, you, as the character, have to make a dexterity saving throw or fall off.
You get thrown off. And that's where we were talking about that first ability, right?
And often landing prone. Yeah. This doesn't happen. So if someone tries to move your horse... say by, I don't know, either killing it or charming it.
Bull rush.
Or pushing it. You as a player have to make another roll or fall off and land prone. Okay? If your mount is knocked prone, you can use your reaction to dismount it as it falls and lands at your feet. Hey, look, another thing you can do with your reaction.
Yes.
Okay? By the way, if something is unconscious, it will fall prone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right? If something's dead, it's not standing up. Okay. Now, controlling a mount.
Now, hold on. They cast sleep on a horse.
It falls down.
Horses can sleep standing up.
I would say it falls down.
Yeah.
As a DM, I would say it falls down.
Especially if you're riding it.
Now, because also, remember, if your horse is the thing falling asleep, you are in incredibly dire situations.
Oh, yeah, you're not in good shape.
Because the way the sleep spell works is it takes off the biggest chunks of hit points, working its way down. So... anyways, controlling a mount. You can control a mount only if it's been trained to accept a rider, so domesticated horses, donkeys, and similar creatures are assumed to have that training. The initiative of a controlled mount changes to match yours when you mount it. So if it's a non-controlled mount, it gets its own initiative and does its own thing.
Right.
Okay? It moves as you direct it on its turn, and it only has one of 3 action options. It could dash, it could engage, or it could dodge. A controlled mount can move and act even on the turn that you mount it. So your mounts can dash, disengage, or dodge and move.
Dog and dodge.
Right? It can't do anything else. Your horse isn't attacking.
No, it's a vehicle.
Yeah. Now, if it is like a warhorse level thing, yeah, it gets an attack, right? It gets a stomp attack. Sure. That just is added to that list of 3.
Sure.
So if you're doing that, it can't dodge, it can't disengage, it can't dash.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
Also, mounts don't get a bonus action. That is, or a reaction.
Yeah, I think that's where I got crossed up earlier. Is right because
Yeah.
dash is normally a bonus action,
Yeah, as they don't have
but they don't have a bonus action. They get it as an action.
as an action.
Yeah.
And so that's where the
An independent mount retains its place in the initiative order. Bearing a rider puts no restriction on the actions the mount can take, and it moves and acts as it wishes, otherwise known as the DM controls it. This is the same as your animal companions. You could suggest to your animal companion what you want it to do, but really the DM decides how that animal interprets it. It might flee from combat, rush to attack, or devour a badly injured foe, or otherwise act against your wishes. In either case, if the mount provokes an attack of opportunity while you're on it, an attacker can target you or the mount.
That's right.
Now, this has a couple big things that might get missed. One, you can mount random things,
Yes.
but they act on their own turn.
Yeah, you can.
Megan.
Cherry's not here. I thought we were safe.
It might flee, it might run, it might turn on you. So be careful what you are attempting to mount. The handle animal action
You okay there?
is an action.
Yes, it is.
So if you are trying to do something beyond making a controlled mount, dash, disengage, or dodge, it requires your full action to force it.
Correct.
Okay? That's just the way that works.
Yep.
Now, the find steed
Yes.
changes the way steeds react to you a little bit. You have advantage on some things, and
Yeah.
the details are in the spell. Look it up.
Look it up. Yeah.
But when it comes to a Cavalier's mount, it's just a horse, y'all. Like it, and it's a controlled one.
It is.
You'll do fine. But the Cavalier subclass gives you no bonuses to controlling your horse, only to.
And this is why I was saying earlier, I like the idea of the multi-class, and I don't like the full-on Cavalier.
Yeah.
I like what some of the things that the Cavalier does, and I absolutely would at the very least take it to 3rd level, probably to 5th or 7th.
I really like Vigilant Defender. I like that 18th level. That is a tempting morsel to go to 18th level.
It is cool, but you're going to have to put up with a lot until you get to 18th level.
And go Halfling.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll get to character builds later.
No, I know. Yeah.
But like
You would.
you very intentionally, because if you are walking through a dungeon, from a meta standpoint, most dungeons and stuff are created and balanced towards a medium-sized party. If you're a small character, you could ride your medium thing into the cave.
Yeah.
If you are a medium thing, you're probably going to have some troubles riding your large thing into the cave.
True.
If you're a large thing, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, you're also going to want to know your campaign. If you know you're going to have a lot of overland travel, you know you're going to have, kind of a lot more open space, then this is a cool one. If you're doing a dungeon crawl, don't bother. And I mean, Cavalier, I think this goes for a lot of classes, but especially the Cavalier, you need to talk to your dungeon master. You need to know the campaign that you're running to make sure
make sure it fits.
Make it useful. Yeah. Cool. Dan, what do you got?
So I got the samurai.
How did Megan not get the samurai?
don't
I know.
know.
I read who was doing what. Like, this is fucked.
Why did you trade?
You could do the samurai if you want.
It's cool.
All right.
All right.
I'm already invested.
So the samurai is a very flavored fighter who, the way they have flavor this is it has this implacable. Implacable. It is a relentless fighting machine. Is basically what they go, right? But there's a lot of fun flavor to it. So starting at 3rd level, you also get bonus proficiencies here. With a lot of fighter subclasses, you get bonus proficiencies when you go into them. This gives you the option to add history, insight, performance, or persuasion. Again, you're seeing a more knight-like feel to this guy, right? You have your history, your insight, your persuasion. You get less options than a Cavalier, but I mean, Cavaliers get animal handling. Right?
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could take a language if you wanted to. At 3rd level, you also get Fighting Spirit, which is where your intensity can both shield you and help you strike true. As a bonus action, you could give yourself advantage on weapon attack rolls.
This is True Strike.
No, this is
But
better than
better.
True Strike.
Way better.
You give
It's
yourself
a good True
you give
Strike.
yourself advantage. Barbarians can do this too, but they give themselves disadvantage to get hits at the same time. So there's that. But Samurai, when you give yourself advantage, you get 5 temporary hit points. This number increases as you level up in the class to 10 at 10th level and 15 at 15th level. Mm-hmm. You could also use this feature 3 times a day per long rest. Right?
15 hit points at 15th level.
15 hit
That's
yes. 3 times a day as a bonus action when you're giving yourself advantage on attacks and you're a fighter and you're doing that because you get so many
The
freaking
rest of it
attacks.
is good. It's a bonus.
That is just a little bit of seasoning on this wonderful dish.
You're
of
looking at
fighting
45
spirit.
hit points a day, which is not nothing.
That's not nothing, even at 15th level.
At
right?
15th level.
You also get Elegant Courtier. Fuck.
Courtier? What the fuck?
I don't
You're
know.
a French bitch.
A bad one. I'm from Western Canada, damn it. Starting at 7th level.
Canada.
Starting at 7th level, you have a bit more of your discipline and attention to detail help you exceed in social situations. You can use your wisdom modifier for persuasion checks.
Yeah.
Which
You better not have dumped wisdom. You got to plan ahead on this one.
as a fighter, your first 2 dumps are going to be charisma and intelligence.
Yeah.
Your third is going to be wisdom. So, dear friends, don't dump all your social abilities.
But I think that's what it's trying to force you to do as a fighter, is that you
Yeah.
don't have to be a dumb brute.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can build it differently to do different things. And I think that's why I like it so much.
I also like this focus on discipline because you also get proficiency in wisdom saving throws.
Yeah.
Which is massive for any mind controlling thing going, hey, there's the dumb fighter, come with me. Right? Now, if you already have proficiency, you can choose to have intelligence or charisma saving throws as a proficiency instead. So if you've multi-classed into something and you get another proficiency save,
You're not getting nothing. You're
It balances
still
you
getting-
out a
get
little
more.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at 10th level, you get Tireless Spirit, which is when whenever you roll initiative and you don't have any more uses of your fighting spirit left, you get one more. So you're always going to have that
at least
retoted-
one per combat.
Well, at least one per combat. And really, you're a fighter.
No.
If you need more than one per combat, you're fighting a boss. If you're not fighting a boss, you should only need one.
Yeah.
Yeah. At 15th level, you get Rapid Strike. Like, you're not getting enough attacks as a fighter.
Yeah.
You learn to trade accuracy for swift attacks. If you take the attack action on your turn and have advantage on an attack roll against one of the targets, you could forego the advantage and just make an additional attack roll.
Especially, at 15th level, you've got what? +6?
You are making about 6 attacks a turn at 15th level.
But what's your modifier at that point? It's +6?
Your
Plus
proficiency is +5, I believe, at that point. Maybe +4. So, yeah.
Plus your strength or dexterity, depending on which way you're going. I
I
think that's worth that trade-off, especially if you know it's not a super high AC.
Yep.
If the AC is 18, why wouldn't you just take that chance on getting 2 attacks instead?
And you could give yourself advantage.
Yeah.
So if you don't have advantage, give yourself advantage, get an extra attack.
If you have
The
advantage,
synergy in this class is wonderful.
Yeah.
So finally, at 18th level, you get Strength Before Death. This is another one of these stupid inflatable punching clown doll abilities where if you take damage that reduces you to 0 hit points, you just decide no and
combine
stand
this
up.
with half-orc.
Yeah, right.
Half-orc samurai.
Half-orc Zealot Barbarian gets this.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to get one free stand up, and they all stack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you stack the 2.
Samurai Berserker.
Yeah, right. So this doesn't give you an extra hit point, however, like the other ones do. It doesn't put you at 1. It just makes it so you don't fall unconscious, giving you the ability to immediately take an extra turn as part of your reaction, and during that extra turn, taking any sort of damage causes death saving throw failures as normal, and 3 failed death saving throws can still kill you. However, when the extra turn ends, you fall unconscious and still have 0 hit points. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So this is Die Hard from previous editions. You're dying. Don't get it twisted. You are on your way down. But you got to turn.
Yeah, one more.
Which means pop a potion in your face. Right? Take a level in Paladin and just give yourself a little bit of healing hands, right? Like, figure something out to keep you going, because you get an extra turn as an immediate reaction, a full turn. You get a move, a bonus, and a thing. And I mean,
at 18th level, you're probably fighting something with multi-attack, so you better hope it's not their first attack that does this. And if it does, then you use this time to make an extra couple attacks against them before you go down.
No, man. If someone knocks you down on the first attack and they have multi-attack, you then interrupt their turn with a full turn of your own.
Correct.
It's basically like a reaction.
But I'm saying, do you waste your turn quaffing a potion or casting healing on yourself if you know they're just going to make the rest of the attacks against you, or do you just go down fighting?
I disengage and run away.
A samurai would never run away.
Well, a Ronin might.
Well, I mean...
right? But a Ronin would use the same abilities. So, like, you come across, depending on however you want to play the character here, this ability could be a game breaker. And I mean, yeah, you're right. If you stand and bang and you get your full round of attacks, which, I mean, at level 18 is ridiculous.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
And you'll still have Rapid Strike as well if you need it.
You're still going to fall unconscious when you're done.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So if you don't have another way to get yourself hit
take
points, take that motherfucker out before he takes you out. And that's what this is.
Little note on the taking the potion or the healing hands. At the end, when this extra turn ends, you still fall unconscious. Oh, if you still have. I misread that.
Yeah.
I thought it said you still have 0 hit points. I misread it.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So you can
You can
technically
do
in
that.
turn
Yeah.
heal yourself.
So that is the samurai.
I just imagine it being like you've been cut to shreds, you're about to die, you just stand there like bandaging your shit for like 2 seconds, like healing yourself, and you're like, fuck you.
Bear with. Just bandaging your arm.
No.
The guy standing there with like a greatsword going, come on, man.
No, in true like samurai fashion, it would be like super slow.
Oh, yeah.
Just like eye contact the whole time, like mumbling something in Japanese. Just
I dig it.
Yeah.
Full on monologue for the 6 seconds.
And then or you kill him and then the guy drops.
And then you drop.
And then you drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? There's that
so
moment where
dramatic.
like you run through and you finish the slash with the sword. He
They
dies and is
slice
chopped in
in
half,
half,
and then you just topple over.
That's the way I envisioned using
You want
it.
anime in your D&D games, friends? Here it is.
Here's your samurai.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Combine it with a monk.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Interesting.
So, Arcane Archer.
Yeah, so I got the Arcane Archer.
Megan, who has never played an archer?
I've never played an archer before.
Good thing my last character wasn't an archer.
I played a bard that like had a bow, but like
That's not the same.
no,
thing.
it's not.
This is the better ranger.
Basically,
Combat wise.
Okay,
Combat wise. Sorry, let me clarify. The better archer than the ranger.
No.
Well-
In everything, a fighter can be a better ranger than the stock ranger. The stock ranger is just garbage.
Yeah. Okay. To be honest with you, I actually kind of like it, and it makes me want to play one. Not gonna lie.
It's a very cool
It's
class.
pretty cool.
Arcane Archer?
Yes.
Or ranger?
Arcane Archer.
Because
No.
if we're talking about rangers right now, you need the psychiatric.
No. I want to play an Arcane Archer. I think it's
Okay.
pretty cool.
Cool.
They are
So, of course, the lore behind it is that it's an elven magic. It's very specific to say that these are the warriors of the elves. They're the ones that kind of use their ranged magical attacks to keep people from getting into their settlements. That's the whole kind of magical concept behind them. And of course, Arcane Archer is similar to the other ones we've talked about. They're not new. They're from other editions.
Yeah.
They've been adjusted over time, etc.
Interestingly, they're not tied to just elves, though. Like
No,
some of
not
them
at
are.
all.
Not like Blade Singer or something like that, right?
Well, Blade Singer's tied to elves, and there's a barbarian subclass that's tied to dwarves.
to dwarves, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Those are bullshit.
Yeah,
and wave them anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
I
what I
hate
mean, is I like the idea of being able to take, yes, that's the lore behind it, but of course magic adjusts and changes over time. People adapt, people absorb it.
I'm just glad they didn't tie it to only elves.
But like if you look at the lore, that's where it is developed from, right? So first off, right away, at 3rd level, you learn your magical theory. You get your basic Arcane Shot, which is basically you get to choose 2 from the list to be able to use for your arrows to be magical. I will go over the list, but I don't think I'm going to go into detail about all of them. So, due to, of course, being of elven tradition, you do get to choose your proficiency in either arcane or nature skill.
So are you a high elf tradition? Were you trained by a high elf or were you trained by
what elf were you trained by?
Yeah.
And then you get to choose to learn either prestidigitation or druidcraft, which
type of elf are you?
Okay.
Or go wild and go, actually, I've got proficiency in nature, but prestidigitation.
Which is unfortunate, because if you did want to tie it into a different backstory that is not elven.
Yes, I mean, it does say that this was traditionally elven, but the other races over the centuries have come into it.
Yeah.
But I'm bothered with things like moon elves. Moon elves are, yes, technically high elves, but I would be more inclined to give them equivalents, because, I mean, you got the spellcasting equivalents.
Yeah.
You get Arcana, so you're getting Prestidigitation. You get Nature, so you're getting Druidcraft.
Don't have to.
You could get Religion and get Thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? You can get History and get a bard, Vicious Mockery from a bard.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you could.
Depending on what the history is, I would, as an experienced DM, I would
allow you to play
play with it a little bit, because you're not going to break a game with these.
I feel like you have enough options here with the two.
I would not do Vicious Mockery, because neither of these are damaging abilities. So
Yes.
it would be
No.
minor illusion. if you came from
Illusionary
a
or
bard.
charismatic or
Yeah.
what have you. Like if you want to build a
Friends.
courtier of some kind.
You get friends.
You can be friends. I have friends as a bard right now, and it's actually probably the best spell I've ever taken.
Yeah.
I love it.
I especially like how
I was gonna-
they know they're charmed as soon as you're done.
As soon as
So
you're
they're
done.
like, yeah, we're buddies. Wait a minute.
We are not friends.
We're not.
And,
What?
and that's why you use friends as a changeling.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, so
All right, I will get into it now. That at 3rd level, you get your Arcane Shot, which basically gets the ability to choose 2 of the magical shot like arrows that it gives you. Something to tell about the arrows is that there's basically 1 from every magic style, or sorry, magic school.
okay.
I guess.
Yep.
Is the way to say it. I won't go into a major detail on every single arrow because they're pretty self-explanatory. The whole concept is, of course, in the next levels after this, you get to choose more of these arrows, and the higher level you get, the better the arrows get. Shall we
Now,
say?
fun little fact with this that I picked up when I was reading through it the first time is longbow or shortbow. So crossbows out of the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, I think traditional
Yeah.
archer, shall we say. I am in a forest.
So yeah, just if you were thinking of building a crossbow archer with this, not an option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not an option at all.
So I will list the arrows. If you guys want me to go into detail, I will. But again, they're pretty self-explanatory. You get
You get at least-
bursting
yeah.
arrow, which basically makes an explosion when it hits. Enfeebling arrow, which is a Constitution saving throw, all that kind of stuff. Grasping arrow, which I would hate, but it's a poison damage.
I like grasping arrow, especially if you took druidcraft and like if you're looking at like a wood elf background.
Yeah, and it's not small additive damage.
No.
Once you get to 18th level, it's a 4d6.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Piercing arrow, which is basically your one I'm a shoot you arrow. Seeking arrow. This one's pretty cool. I kind of would want to choose this one, but there are other abilities later on that are very similar. So we'll get into that later. And then shadow arrow, which is different. I've never even heard of this one before. So shadow arrow is you weave illusion magic into your arrow, causing it to occlude your foe's vision and shadows. The creature hit by the arrow takes an extra 2d6 psychic damage, and it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be unable to see anything further than 5 feet away.
Yeah, so
That's
psychic
awesome.
damage
Pretty
is
cool.
fun, and blinding outside 5 feet also fun.
There's not a lot that's resistant to psychic
No.
damage, friends.
No.
So
Yeah.
I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
You got a barbarian you need to take down.
Yeah, right?
This is what you use. And then one that I do like, Banishing Arrow. I like banishing magic, just in the sense where, I've never been in a campaign where a DM has allowed me to use it as per written rules.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's not just Adam alone. I have played in other campaigns where they nixed banishing of any kind.
That's
I don't know. It's in the game. I like it. I can understand why, as a DM, you can have everything foiled by it, but it's in the game.
It's true.
Yeah, it's in the game. I understand why some DMs don't like it, because it's very easy to get access to things like banishing magic.
Yeah.
Like here at 3rd level, you could send things away to the Feywild.
Yeah, like gone.
Sure. I especially like how this is a specific destination. It doesn't work like a banish.
It doesn't say just on a plane,
Yeah.
like a different plane, or it goes back to its home plane, or what have you, right? It's very specific to
Now, let's be clear,
your
though.
magic.
Banishing, it's one turn, right? It comes back at the end of the next turn.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
it's not like you're permanently banishing.
No, but I mean,
You're basically taking out of combat for a round. And
yeah,
who knows what's going to happen to it when
for
it's in the...
for a charisma saving throw, like there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to be able to save this.
Yeah.
This could affect a lot of things, and
But if you've got something big you need to focus on and you want to get rid of the small little minions for a minute while you deal with that threat, I don't know. I like it. I think, as a DM, I think I'd be okay with... It's one turn. You're not...
for like in
This isn't a permanent banishment, right?
Yeah, so it's not a permanent one like your regular banishing spell, so I feel like as a DM you would not really have a problem with this one. But like just in general, banishing has never worked out for me. So I don't like it. But and then the other one that I really like is the Beguiling Arrow. This one's hilarious. The imagery is so
delightful.
funny.
I'm going to shoot you, and now you're my friend.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna shoot you, but you're gonna attack somebody else. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Yeah, like I just say, like I get it. You're the archer. You're not supposed to be the center of attention, so it makes sense that you're trying to throw the attention at someone else. But it just seems so weird that that's how that works.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I also find that it's crazy that you could do this once per turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no real limit how many arrows you could shoot with these things. Just what types.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, you get more
Options. As
you get more
go.
options as you level up. Ultimately,
No, you get 2 uses per long rest. Shorter
Oh,
long rest.
Yes,
short
but then
rest,
there's the similar ability later on that makes
Makes it more.
Basically,
So as you level up. But there is a limit on it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a limit on the magic use, and I remember in the old Arcane Archer, you would get the next ability right away, which is the Magic Arrow, which at 7th level in this campaign, well, in this 5th edition, you gain the ability to infuse your arrows with magic, therefore every arrow you use is a magical arrow. Which is really cool. Like at 7th level, your bow and arrow is a magic arrow bow, no matter what.
So if you haven't managed to find magical arrows, you don't have to worry about it.
But in older editions, you got it right away at 3rd with the Arcane Shot. Now you don't get it till 7th level, which I think is a little bit more balanced. But
Yeah, I mean, this is still pretty
7th
weak
level
for
is
7th
still
level.
it's still late in the game to get a magical weapon in my mind.
Yeah.
But if you're playing one of those campaigns where you
And
don't
if
have
you're
access,
an arcane archer, the first magical weapon you're getting is a bow.
yeah,
Like if you're walking around with a great axe, friend,
But a magical
I
bow
love your
doesn't...
character,
Does a
but-
magical bow create magical arrows?
does a magical bow create magical arrows? Yes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Is that the rule as written?
Well, if you're shooting an arrow with a magical bow,
So with a magical
it
bow, you...
becomes magical when you hit things with it. Yes. 100% yes. 100% yes.
I'd want to check
well,
the
because
rules
I feel
on that.
like the concept that you're saying right now is the only way a magical bow would work is if you hit someone physically with a bow.
Well, no, you'd still get the... Because usually a magical weapon's going to have a bonus to hit.
Nope,
Or,
not necessarily.
not necessarily, but it's going to have some sort of other function that... But the arrow itself... So...
Put it this way. If you have a +1 longbow,
Yes.
that is going to do +1 damage and plus one
one
to
to
hit
hit and
and
+1.
damage.
Yes.
Which means it's affecting the arrow. It 100% is.
You
It
can argue that the
100
strength is...
No.
So,
there's no argument to it.
So then this is
100%
completely useless then at that point if you
That's
don't
what
have...
we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's why this is weak.
Because I would argue as...
This is you're breaking out from jail, knock out a guard, take his bow and arrow, and now you're still able to do damage reduction.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, magic items are exceedingly rare and are supposed to be. God damn it. We're not playing 3.5 where we're decked to the nines with magic items anymore. That's not the way the game is supposed to play. You have 3 slots for items, right? And 99% of all weapons that are magical require attunement anyways.
Correct.
Right? So, if this is also useful, if you have a magic bow, but don't have the attunement slots for it, you could still make a function as a magic bow for overcoming damage reduction purposes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? just to have a different attunement slot available. Now, they've opened up the floodgates when it comes to things like attunement slots when they introduced the Artificer and how many attunement slots an Artificer gets.
Yeah.
So this...
Listen to the Artificer episode.
This feels weak for 7th level. Like, I mean, you look at what...
Again, it's very specific to the type of campaign you're playing where if magical items don't necessarily exist, it benefits you. If you're playing in a campaign where magical items exist and they're handed out like hotcakes, it is not useful to you.
And it's counterintuitive because if you're playing an Arcane Archer, you're playing a magical archer.
You should have a magical bow.
Have a magical bow.
Yeah.
If you're playing a low magic campaign and a Arcane Archer, friend, I love your character, but you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you get your shit together.
Right?
Yeah. Also at 7th level though, you do
Your
get...
DM's a dick, actually, if that's the case.
No,
or you, unless it's predetermined that it's not going to be, then you're just building the wrong character.
Or you are the one, like, you scrap the lore of it, being trained, blah, 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 just make it an innate magical ability, and you are slowly getting better at it. Remember, this is a fighter subclass, and you're not getting spell slots, so you're not really a spellcaster.
That's what I mean, yeah. You go to get to my character build later, but yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So at 7th level as well, you get Curving Shot, which I think is actually really cool, which I think is better than having a magical bow. You learn to be able to redirect an arrow. So basically, if you miss a target, you can actually re-roll it to hit a different target.
Love that.
You can curve your arrows, bitches.
I like the flavor of that.
Yeah, you're Robin Hood.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And yeah, you're a better archer than a ranger.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that ability. That's the one that does it.
And there's no limit to it.
No.
It's just this is a thing that you can do.
Well, you use your bonus action to do it.
Yeah, but like you regain bonus action, so I just
My favorite thing about this is you use your bonus action to re-roll the attack roll against a different target within 60 feet of the original
so it
target.
goes farther.
Which means if that guy is 60 feet away and you got a short bow, you're extending the larger limits of your being able to roll without disadvantage. All right, well, now the guy 120 feet away, which you normally would have had to roll with disadvantage, you don't have to.
You don't have
anymore.
to. You just roll normally.
See, this is like, I would almost want to flavor that in the sense where you're just like, I'm going to direct it to this person so that it like bounces off their head and goes to the next
Yeah,
person.
like it ricochets off their helmet and hits a dude.
You almost choose not to hit them. You're like, I want to hit that guy, so I'm going to hit this guy first. Like that just, the imagery is so cool to me. I love it.
I also like the fact that it doesn't say it has to be in the same direction.
No.
So it could just go whoop and come right back at you.
Literally curve your arrow. Fucking sweet. Alright. And then at 15th level, this is where you get your Ever Ready Shot, which essentially your magical archery is available whenever battle starts. So if you roll initiative and have no uses, you get one use. So again, similar to the samurai, that you do no matter what, technically go into the start of a battle with one no matter what.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But then after that, there is nothing special for level 18. Basically what happens is whatever arrows you chose level up respectively. Mm-hmm. So each arrow has a benefit
you get
once
more
you get to level 18.
arrows.
So whatever you chose gets more powerful.
Yeah.
So I do love the idea of these because you do have to be careful with what spells you choose. Again, this character can grow with your campaign. Mm-hmm. So should you choose one arrow, you might choose another because of the direction the campaign is going. Like I just feel like it's so customizable that I personally like it.
Yeah, it definitely is. You could play a bunch of Arcane Archers and never have them be exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Dan, you look like you're looking something up.
Yes, I was just looking up a lot of these subclasses. The Arcane Archer and the Samurai specifically have this at 15th level. If you hit initiative and you don't have any more uses, you get them back.
Yeah.
I was seeing if that tracked with Battlemaster well, and it does. So same thing, 15th level. If you run out of Battlemaster superiority die, you get another one. So yeah,
checks out.
It
just really fits. Cool. All right. So before we wrap up, I just want to remind everyone that you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and at r/itsamimic on Reddit. You can always reach out to us through our email at info@itsamimic.com because we love hearing from you guys. And any questions that you send us will get added to the lists for upcoming mailbag episodes. All right, guys. Let's do some creative builds. Let's roll to see who goes first.
I got a 4.
I got an 18.
14.
I'll go last.
I get to go first again.
Yep.
It's been a good day for my dice rolls. All right. So with the Cavalier, I actually found this build somewhere else a long time ago and co-opted it and tweaked it a little bit for my own liking. I would give credit to whoever created it first, but I don't remember who it is. It's just sitting in my character creation page.
Yeah.
But I talked about this earlier. It's a multi-class, and it's the Oath of the Crown Paladin combined with the Cavalier. And basically, you're constantly defending, going with an Aasimar, so specifically the Scourge Aasimar. Because they have that ability to basically radiate damage around them.
Yep.
And then they can focus also on a single target. There's a really good synergy there. And I think it'd be really flavorful as well, right? You're this beacon of light on the battlefield. You're basically drawing everything into you both visually and then mechanically as well. Mm-hmm. I like the flavor as well of having this fallen Aasimar, well, Scourge Aasimar, but this Aasimar who's trying to redeem and then rally the troops around him for a righteous cause.
Cool. I really like that. For those who don't know Oath of the Crown, it's basically the stereotypical knight
in shining
armor. They get abilities that like literally are challenges. Like, you are fighting me one-on-one right now.
Yes, that's right. They can
and make a wisdom save or have disadvantage on attacking everybody else or whatever it is, right? It might be a charisma save. But like there's a lot of really interesting honor
for crowd control, protection, and all that kind of stuff.
Like your goal is to be the center of attention, to be drawing people in and making and it works great for role play or for combat.
Yeah.
Right? Either way, you're still the center of attention, and in combat, you're making sure that everybody's focused on you, and you're taking the hits.
Yeah. Did you say that you would kind of cross-class it too, or you'd with...
Yeah, the two, right?
So because that would help you build up the charisma side of things,
exactly.
Right?
So you definitely want to put a lot into charisma. You'd probably want to take the Sentinel feat again. Yeah. But you're looking at, again, you get Fine Steed and Fine Greater Steed with Paladin, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it just, the flavor is there, it's mixed together. Like you said, I'd love to see Cavalier as more of a Paladin subclass, but because it's a fighter, I think the multi-class just works.
Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, I like it. I kind of thought of a really cute idea, more backstory, less like technical side of what I would want to do with an Arcane Archer. But basically, I was thinking of years and years and years in the future, after like a big great war occurred on the land, some random fucking idiot came across a bow. That was technically kind of imbued with magic, but not quite. It just has notches in it. They're not quite sure what the fuck they do. So this is not an inherently magical character, obviously. It is the bow that is of the magic style. So
is this character's name Turnip?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, or Mushroom.
I'm done to find this here bow and shoot things, and they stand there and they die.
It's great stuff. Yeah. But like I feel like all of a sudden they start hearing like magical voices in my mind.
What the fuck is that?
It's great.
Hello?
Yeah, but I would also like to play on the side of the fact that each of the spells, like the bow spells that you can get, are different magic styles. So it's almost like the only way they can learn those spells is to meet someone or know someone that knows that magic. Mm-hmm. So again, having a rhyme or reason as to why it occurs. So it would almost be like your goal now is to seek out different forms of magic to be able to utilize this bow to its fullest capabilities. Because obviously as a fighter, you're going to get your regular abilities right away. You're going to be able to use your bow, no problem, like a regular bow. Mm-hmm. But to use the magical side of it, it's almost like you are required to seek out how to use it. Because you were never taught the Elven way.
Yeah.
Right?
That's going to require a deep discussion with your DM at that point. Because you lose that bow, you lose your character.
Yeah. Exactly, right? But that's happened in any campaign I've played. If I lose a weapon or something that I built my character around, you gotta figure your shit out. You're an arcane magic fighter. Fucking figure it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a DM, I would definitely have... If I'm going to take that weapon away from you, I'm doing so knowing it will neuter your character, so I will have had some idea of what we could do to not neuter your character, because... I mean, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Of course.
Or use it in a way to lure them to someone else who has magic, right? Like maybe you came across like a fairy in the woods that knows what bow that is, so it takes it from you.
Yeah.
And then the next like episode of the campaign is you finding this fairy to get the bow back, and then you learn another spell from that fairy, right? So it would be, I almost feel like it would work better as a one-on-one campaign because you would be very specific to your storyline. But I don't know. I just really like that.
I like the idea. I
Yeah.
absolutely do.
So for me, I am really embracing the feel of the samurai with the race that D&D 5e has seemed to encourage players to play if they want to play in that Eastern feel, right? And that is, funny enough, the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblins are very militaristic. They're very strict and straightforward and regimented, and a lot of their character art, they're wearing like traditional Japanese armor, right? They just they have that. They all have their top knots.
I hadn't considered that, but you're right.
They're good to go, right? So the idea of a Hobgoblin samurai really tickles me. I really like the idea.
Did you have to use that term?
Yeah,
Tickles you?
Yes, I did. But add in a little bit of Kensei Monk, just to fully embrace the feeling of it, right?
I thought you said Kenku for a second. I'm like, you can't do that.
so the Kensei Monk is, of course, the monk that focuses on its weapons, right? You could, instead of going Kensei Monk, maybe go Hexblade Warlock, something else that's focused on its weapon. But the reason why I want to do this is your character is about his weapon. Like you said with your Arcane Archer thing, kind of the same, but like this is a ancient, in Pathfinder they call them dog slicers, or what goblinoids call their blades.
Nice.
Right? Dog slicers, if it's 2-1, it's a horse cutter.
Horse chopper.
Horse chopper, right. So,
This is my head chopper offer.
goblins in Pathfinder hate both dogs and horses with a passion. Yeah, like will hunt them down and murder them just because.
That's hilarious.
Anyways, so the whole goal of this character is I want to play him as a Ronin. I'm like, he's been banished from his Hobgoblin clan, and he is trying to work to regain that sense of honor, because honor is incredibly important to Hobgoblins, to rejoin his clan in some way, shape, or form. And I would have this be a bit of a redemption arc where this guy's like, wait a minute, I was the bad guys and now I'm out. And now I could be with the good guys, right? And have this change of mind. And being able to play a goblinoid character has always been interesting.
I know you love
me, right?
Goblin lines.
I love the greenskins, and even when as hobgoblins they're red. So it's like you could have a very interesting, intriguing character arc for this guy, and all of these things kind of blend together to fit this flavor in this field that you could develop. So Kensei Monk, 5 levels, and then probably 15 as a samurai, just to get that level 15 ability to
get a charge no matter what. Isn't
Yeah,
that
that's
15?
all.
to
Make it useful at a higher level, you would almost need to get to 15.
My mind just turned off. I'm sorry.
I think 18 is the one where when they drop dead.
Yeah.
But
like that means you always have one of these things up. You got a couple key points to do what you need to do. You have Step of the Wind.
That's true.
As a fighter is amazing.
Yeah.
And that opens up your bonus actions, which you're not really using a lot, right? If you are wielding a 2-handed weapon.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's what I would do.
I like it.
Samurai way of the Kensei Monk.
I like it.
Fits well together.
Yeah.
Very classic. All right, well, that is it for this episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, you can head to www.itsamimic.com and hit our fancy donate button, or tell your friends and the rest of your D&D party about the podcast. We're available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as most podcast apps. And don't forget to come back on to our next week's episode when we're covering Warlocks.
Thank you for listening to another It's a Mimic production. Inquiries, shoutouts, requests, and mailbag questions can be sent to info@itsamimic.com.
All right, guys. So in talking about fighters, what kind of symbol do you think symbolizes yourself and or your family unit?
Ooh,
That's a very good question. Let's go for it. 19.
I got a treat.
You got a 9.
I picture. Are we talking more like a crest or just a symbol?
Like a symbol, like a holistic symbol.
A holistic symbol.
Or a heraldic symbol.
Yeah.
What would I have on my heraldry?
Yeah, right. And remember, most heraldry has some sort of fantastical creature on it.
Sometimes.
For a reason.
Yeah, I actually don't have one on mine. I like the idea of a tower. A strong, stable tower.
A rook, yeah, okay.
A rook, effectively,
Yeah.
yes. That's what I think would be on mine. Just a strong fortress of refuge.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
I like it. My family is a family of nerds, thanks to my dad. And him and I actually designed a family crest
Love
3
that.
years ago for him to carve for the family. Has nothing to do with our actual family history.
Doesn't need to.
Just
as
like
long as it's badass.
Yeah, we fell in love with Game of Thrones and decided we'll make our house.
Perfect.
So it has a white fox in the mountains on it.
Love that.
Because we're foxy, Dad said.
I was hoping for a deeper cut, but just because we're full of sass.
So much sass.
Yeah. I mean, it tracks. It does.
It's true.
For this episode, I went in a deep dive onto like heraldry and like old English heritage sites.
Fuck reading about fighters. I'm just gonna read about people's history.
Yeah, and all of the
That tracks.
all the little things that went into heraldry, from whether you have chevrons on it, what colors are on it, what the different colors mean. I went into a deep dive.
Of course you did.
So
I don't think I'm ready for this.
I now want to make one up, but it does say that, I went to one website here that's like often fabulous beasts that never really existed, but people believed in, were put in as symbols of power and whatnot. And honestly, the owl bear. If I could have an owl bear on a heraldry, I'm down. My favorite animal, natural animal, straight up, is a bear. My favorite bird are owls. So personally, it fits. They are iconic D&D monsters, so it fits. My children love them. I have little baby owlbear models that are like little owlbear pups, little owlbear cubs.
Do you have one for like each kid?
I have 3 of them. So like,
Perfect.
An owlbear on a field of green with I don't know, some chevrons on it or something. Maybe a border around it. Like I went on a deep dive. So yes, I've got ideas.
Wonderful.
Just a few, I can tell. And hit our fancy donate button. Or tell your friends at the rest and...
Leave that in. That's the stinger.
Yeah. It's better than Megan going, okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, shut up. That's great.
I love the okay bye.
I love stabbing them in the back when they're not here.
It's such a great time.
Because those motherfuckers do it to me.
Wait, why aren't we talking about pumpkin spice? Adam's not here. This is an all pumpkin spice all the time episode.
Thank you for listening to an It's a Mimic production.
Okay, you're done. Get it.